Welcome to the In Love with PMDD podcast. I am your host, Rose. I'm so happy to get into this episode today. So, I am a PMDD relationship coach. What I do is I help you with tools and techniques that I have developed over the last 15 years that have helped me to not suffer in my relationship while having PMDD. So, I personally have struggled with PMDD for 15 years. And what has affected me the most is my intimate relationships. It always seems that I could keep it together when it came to being a mom, keep it together with work, even with friends. But when it came time to deal with my issues, my partner and my relationship just became so overwhelming for me that I saw that as the problem. And it made me want to break up with my partner every single month, and not knowing if the issues that I was having with my partner were real issues or they were because I was in PMDD or both. So, what I'm going to be providing you with today are 10 PMDD relationship affirmations. So, these relationship affirmations are specifically designed for when you are in Hell Week, aka in the thick of PMDD, when your symptoms are the most and you start to question your relationship. So with my clients, that is one of the main things that they are always trying to figure out is, are the issues that I'm having with my relationship because of I'm in PMDD, or is it because I have these pre-existing issues with them? And we really go in depth with this. And so I created these PMDD relationship affirmations to give you some clarity and some reminders of what you actually want out of your relationship, how you actually see your relationship when you're not in PMDD, and how you can maintain that focus when you're in the middle of Hell Week and you're really, really struggling. So the first affirmation is, I am grateful for the support of my PMDD partner. So many times we forget about all of the things that our partner does for us while we're in PMDD because we're so focused on the things that annoy us. We're so focused on, some of us want to go in isolation from our partner, or some of us are really clingy and we want to be, all over our partner. It's different for each woman that goes through this. But being able to adjust your focus to the things that your partner is doing to make your PMDD better is so important, because we want to be able to give our partner that level of awareness. Like, I'm aware of what you're doing for me. So if you show that gratitude to your partner, that is really going to enhance your relationship and make them want to do more. So many times I've talked to a lot of PMDD partners and they feel unappreciated. They feel like, I put up with all of this and I don't get anything in return, when they're in Hell Week, or they don't want to be bothered, or they're wanting all these things, but they're not pouring into the relationship. So they feel like they got the short end of the stick. So this is a reminder to show gratitude to your PMDD partner. So again, this affirmation is, I am grateful for the support of my PMDD partner. The next affirmation is, I am kind to my partner despite my PMDD. So this is a really big one, because I want to let you know, having PMDD does not give a license for you to verbally or physically abuse your partner in any way. Despite the rage that you may feel, despite the level of uncomfort that you may feel, despite how much you think that this isn't fair, it doesn't give you the right or the permission to use your symptoms as an excuse to verbally or physically abuse your partner in any way. So a reminder to be kind to your partner is so important when you're in those Hell Weeks, because you may not feel like you have to. You may feel like, I'm dealing with all of this and they're not dealing with this. So I have permission. I'm allowed to be rude to my partner. I'm allowed to ignore my partner. I'm allowed to not show affection and love and attention and be loving the way you are when you're not in PMDD. And you may think that you're allowed to neglect them. That is a form of not being kind to your partner. If you stop giving your partner the things that they know that they need, just because you're in PMDD and you feel okay with that, but you expect them to stay in the relationship, to still be all in, to still be fully committed, even though you're choosing not to be kind to them, that's not fair for your partner. And it's not fair to you, because when your partner feels neglected, they tend to shut down. And they tend to give less to the relationship. And not only that, they start to look at the relationship differently. And maybe they start to think, how long can I deal with this? These are a lot of fears that a lot of my clients have in their minds of, in my relationship, they always feel like they are one step away from their partner walking away. And that's because kindness is not at the forefront. It is harder to be kind when you're in PMDD, but it is possible. That needs to be a priority for you. Be kind in a way that your partner can receive it. Do something kind that you know that they like. I'm not saying that you have to plan an elaborate meal or elaborate dinner, or just showing them kind words, saying kind words to them. It doesn't cost you anything to say kind words to them. So remember, when you are in PMDD Hell Week, I have a list that I provide for my clients of, and I'll do another podcast on that, which is basically the top 10 things to do for your partner when you're in PMDD. And they're based off of being kind to your partner, because it's not something that you're really thinking about. It's not something that you remember. And it's certainly not something that you feel like doing if you're in the middle of Hell Week. So the next affirmation is, I love my life with my partner. It is important for you to list out and remember what it is that you like and love about your life with your PMDD partner. What is it that you enjoy doing the most? So for me personally, I love my morning routine with my partner. I love that we get up and we work out together. Even when we're apart, we stay connected. We're sharing our workouts, or kind of just showing what we do in the morning to make sure that we feel our best. We listen to motivational things. We do a scripture verse together. We do gratitude. So having my morning routine with my partner reminds me that I love my life with my partner. I love when we get to travel. So what I'm going to ask you to do is list out 5 things that you love to do with your partner, and remind yourself, because when you're in PMDD and you have PMDD brain, you start to focus on all the negative things about your partner and your life together, and you kind of see it as like a burden. And you forget, like, there are things that you do love about your life with your partner, and you just have to remind yourself of that. And sometimes even the act of writing that down, which is what I suggest that you do anytime you have that feeling like, I don't even, like, my life would be better off without my partner, or I'd be better off being single. That is always the number one thought that goes through a lot of my clients' brains, because they feel like, if I have to give all of this extra effort in addition to dealing with my symptoms, maybe my life would be better off if I didn't have a partner. And the answer to that a lot of times is, it won't, because when you're not in PMDD, when you don't have those symptoms, you're going to miss your partner. You're going to miss those amazing things that you and your partner do together. You have to remember why you chose your partner and why you chose to have a life with them. So having that reminder as an affirmation is so key. And it kind of just shifts your brain from thinking about leaving and saying, you know what, I'm going to stay in this. Because remember in the beginning of your relationship where you would talk about goals and like things that you want to do, places you wanted to go, and you just had this positive outlook on your life with your partner because you saw yourself doing life in the future with your partner. And that is something that you need to remember, that if you don't put in the work in your relationship, even while you're in PMDD, then it's a possibility that you're not going to be able to do those things. So that should give you an incentive to be like, I love my life with my partner, even when I'm in PMDD, because of this, and this. And it's different for everybody, but listing that out will kind of shift your mindset into believing and remembering about how much you love your life with your partner. So the next affirmation is, I am focused on the positive qualities of my partner. How many times have you been in PMDD and looked at your partner and they literally look different to you? I know it's happened to me where I literally look at my partner and they literally look like a different person. And what I'm telling you is that having negative qualities is something that everyone nobody's perfect. But when we magnify those negative qualities, they tend to overshadow all of the positive things about your partner. And when you're choosing to focus on the negative qualities that they may have. Maybe they do, you know, they left the toilet seat up, or they're really messy. Have you ever noticed that when you're really feeling in love with your partner, that even the things that get on your nerves when you're in PMDD, like they don't necessarily bother you? Like you see the clothes that are thrown all over the place and it doesn't bother you as much. But when you happen to be in PMDD and you're dealing with all these symptoms and you're feeling so overwhelmed and stressed and, you know, depressed and all of these things, then just looking at certain qualities in your partner may turn you off, honestly. It may make you look at them differently. It may make you be like, I don't even know if I really like my partner. Like you can think to yourself, like, I know I love them because I'm still here, but I don't even know if I like my partner because of this, this, and this. And then you can even go into start talking to other people and gossiping, you know, to them about things that you don't like about your partner to kind of validate that mindset. So if you talk to someone else and you're only telling them negative things about your partner, and they start to, you know, affirm that for you and be like, you know what, that is messed up. So now all of a sudden you're taking steps back, you're pulling away from the relationship because you're viewing only the negative qualities about your partner. So what I want you to do is to focus on the positive qualities of your partner. So all of these affirmations that I'm going to be providing to you are going to come with tools. They're going to come with tools that I would, you know, do with my clients. I'm going to give you exercises to do for each affirmation. So for this one, I want you to specifically write down 5 positive qualities about your partner. And you may have to go back in your memory a little bit. But the thing is, look at your relationship and think about all of the positive qualities that they had early on in the relationship. If they're no longer doing those things that they used to do, it's time to figure out why. Because no one just stops doing things for no reason. There's a root. And so when we work together, what we do is we get to the root of why your partner stopped doing those things that you loved. And so we're shifting them back into the direction of doing the things that you love that they did so that they can continue to do them again. So that is, I am focused on the positive qualities of my partner. The next affirmation is, I am committed to my PMDD partner. So many times we think about breaking up with our partner because we forget about the commitment. We forget about the promise that we made to them. So this is whether you're married or whether you're in a committed relationship, you're still committed. And so what I want to do is remind you of why you made that commitment, because it's a choice. Anytime we get into a relationship, we're not forced. No one can force you to be in an intimate relationship. Why did you choose to not be with anyone else and to only be with this person? Why did you choose to do life with them? Why did you choose that partner? And why did you choose to commit to them? What was the end goal? Where did you see this going? It's always important to remember your why. So many times, especially when you're looking at all of this motivational content, they say, remember the why, remember the why. Remember your why of why you're in your relationship with your partner and why you committed to them. That's something that we tend to forget when we're in PMDD because we think it's so easy to just throw it all away without remembering. You know, I chose to not just date, because you could have just dated your partner. There was no need for you to just say, you know what, I only want to be with you. Think about why you only want to be with your partner. And again, write down 5 reasons that you chose to only be committed to your PMDD partner. The next affirmation is, I am willing to show my partner affection, attention, and give them affirmations. So this is so key and something I use with my clients as a baseline. So the way that you do this is going to be different for everybody because everybody's partner is different. They respond to different things. But as long as you, on a day-to-day basis, so say your PMDD is 14 days, mine is between 10 to 14 days. And when I'm not in PMDD, it's so easy for me to show my partner affection. It's so easy for me to show my partner attention. And it's so easy to give my partner positive affirmations because that's just my personality. It's natural for me because I love my partner, and I'm pretty sure it's natural for you to do those things as well. But when you're in PMDD, that's harder because that means you have to shift your focus off of your symptoms, off of your feelings. It's a very selfless act. And I want to let you know, being in an intimate relationship, it is a selfless act. It means that you are not just thinking about yourself. You're not just thinking about how you're feeling. You're not just thinking about your PMDD, but you are literally coming outside of yourself to do something for your partner. You're choosing to pour into your partner even when you don't feel like it. So a lot of times with my clients, it's easy for them to do that with their children. Like I was telling you, my biggest struggle with PMDD is not handling all of those other responsibilities. Although they're hard, I never sit here and say, oh, it's because of my daughter that, I'm struggling. You know what I mean? Like it's never, I never blame my job. I never blame my child. I don't blame my dog. I don't wake up in the morning when I'm cuddling up with Mr. Leo, my puppy. He's a Shih Tzu. And I don't say, oh my gosh, I don't feel like I woke up in night sweats. I woke up with anxiety, depression, all of these things. And I don't feel like walking my dog. So I'm going to blame it on my dog. Like that's not a thing. I just get up and do it because I love my animal. I love my daughter. I get up and do those responsibilities, whether I feel like it or not. And some of you are willing to show up to work as your best self, show up with your children as your best self, even when you're in PMDD. But you won't do that for your relationship. You somehow feel like you don't have to. You somehow feel like those other commitments, it's like, I have to go to work and I can't, cuss everybody out, even though I feel like it. I have to be with my children and I have to be kind and provide for them and feed them and do all these things. And I'm going to show up and do it. But when it comes to your relationship, sometimes you tend to think that you have a past. Like, oh, well, my partner is a grown-up. You know what I mean? Well, guess what? Your boss is a grown-up. Your coworkers are grown-ups, and you found a way to show up for them in a way that's acceptable because you haven't gotten fired. You know what I mean? So if you think about the way that you choose to dig deep and show up for other people, your partner should be the very first person that you're willing to show. Once you show up for yourself, you're supposed to show up for your partner and give your partner that affection, that attention, and affirmation. I'm not saying that you're going to feel like it. I'm not saying that you're necessarily going to feel like it initially in the moment. But what I will tell you is that when you show your partner affection, when you hold their hand, when you give them a hug, when you give them a kiss, that's not costing you anything. So to think that you are depriving your partner of something that's literally not costing you anything because you don't feel like it. I know a lot of times, when I'm really, really hot, with the night sweats and right before bed, sometimes cuddling is definitely not a thing. Sometimes even the touch of another person or anything, it's like it feels like your skin is going to crawl. Like, so I completely understand that there's some levels of affection that you may not be able to do. But what I'm going to tell you is you better find something. Okay. So if you don't physically show your partner that much affection during PMDD, then maybe the answer is that you verbally show your partner affection. You give them words. Maybe you go do something nice for them that you know that they really want. Like you find other ways to be affectionate to your partner, even when you're in PMDD, because you can't expect them to be deprived. You wouldn't starve them. You're starving them is basically what's happening. When you're not giving them that same love and affection, when you're in PMDD, you're starving them and expecting them to not act out. So a lot of times when I have couples counseling with PMDD partners, they start to tell me the things that their partner is doing that they don't like. And they never want to address, or it doesn't initially come to them to address, why is your partner acting like this? I would always say, is your partner acting out of character? And they're like, yes, they're talking to me like I'm crazy. And it's like, let me tell you what happens when you're not affectionate with your partner. Your partner starts to see you as the enemy in a sense that they feel resentful because they have this void that you're not filling. They can only get it from you. You don't want your partner cheating. You don't want your partner going to get affection from anyone else, but yet you're not willing to give it to them yourself. So you're basically backing them up in a corner They're wanting affection from you, and they start to act out. This can happen in so many ways, but it's because they're starving for your affection. So I always say, go to the baseline and start to do little things that they actually relate to show them some affection and watch their behavior change. There's no sense in spending time talking about why a partner is acting out when you know the reason and you have control over fixing that. You have control over shifting that. It's like if a baby is crying and you want to complain that your baby is crying, but your baby's hungry, it's like you know how to stop the baby from crying. Give them some food, give them some milk. But if you're sitting there looking at the baby crying and you're literally saying, oh, this is so annoying, I can't believe, blah, 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 and you're not doing anything about it, guess what? The baby's going to continue to cry. If you're complaining about your partner and all these things that they're doing, they're talking to you crazy, they're not being loving, they're not being sensitive, they're not feeling connected, you don't feel connected to them because they don't feel connected to you because they're not receiving affection. So if you're complaining and saying all of the negative things that they're doing, but you're not willing to do anything to change it, it's just going to be more of the same. It's going to be more of the same, and it's going to start to pull you and your PMDD partner apart. Because when you come out of PMDD and you're ready to be loving again, and you're ready to give them that affection, sometimes they're not open to it because you've literally starved them for 2 weeks. And sometimes they may be a little bit cold, they may be a little bit distant, and it's because you haven't maintained the consistency of providing your partner with what they need. And I guarantee you, there's specifics, but the core of what every single partner needs, you included, is affection, attention, and affirmation. So the next affirmation that we're going to go over is, I am hopeful of my future with my PMDD partner. I want you to write down 5 things that you plan on doing with your PMDD partner this year, 2022, or whenever you're listening to this podcast. Write down 5 things that you plan on doing with them. And I want you to get into the specifics of those things. So if one of your things is going on vacation, think about what you're going to do on vacation. Think about how that's going to feel. Think about how relaxed you're going to be, how many fun memories that you're going to make. Because what happens is when you shift your focus to those positive, thoughts, and you start to think about how great it's going to feel with your partner, you're going to show up to your partner differently because you're going to begin to feel that. You're changing your mindset, and it's going to make you change your physiology with how you show up to your partner. So never forget and always plan something for the future with your partner. So many times when you're going through disagreements and arguments and things can seem really, really heavy and you don't have a pot of gold, like I always have a vacation plan for me and my partner. It's been such a struggle thanks to COVID with planning, because I used to travel every single month with my partner. We used to always go somewhere, mainly because we were long distance. So instead of just going to each other's homes that we were presently living in, we would go on vacation and meet there. And so we would always have something to look forward to within the month. So for this exercise, I want you to not only list the 5 things that you have planned out for the year, but I want you to plan something this month. I want you to plan something that you and your partner are going to do. I don't care if it's a board game. I don't care if it's watching a movie. Whatever it is, when you are in PMDD and you're in Hell Week, you need something to look forward to. So you need to remember, like, hey, me and my partner are going to go do this. And it's something that we really, really enjoy. And it's something that's going to make me feel close and connected to my partner. So even if you're not feeling close and connected to your partner at that time, when you're in PMDD, just thinking about what you're going to do in the future is going to help you refocus and stay connected. So the next affirmation is, I am aware that my life is better with my PMDD partner. So many times we think to ourselves, maybe my life would be better off single. Excuse me. Maybe my life would be better off if I didn't have a partner, if I was just single and I did it with myself, because all I would have to do is worry about myself. I want you to list out why that's not ideal, in a sense of you're eventually going to want to have a partner. Why? why is it that you chose to be in a relationship? And then how does your partner make your life better? So when you're thinking out specifics about why your partner makes your life better, it could be as simple as when I wash the dishes, my partner dries the dishes and puts them away. A big thing for me is my partner folds the laundry. And whenever like I have like a big basket of laundry, and I bring it in. And sometimes like my big thing used to be, I don't know if you're like me, but I have no problem washing and drying my clothes. But when they come out of the dryer, I never feel like folding them up. Well, what the amazing thing about my partner is that I bring the basket in and I kind of set it in the room. And then I start to be like, okay, at some point I'm going to go back and fold it. Like I really have to get into it. It has to be a whole vibe in order for me to fold my clothes. I have to like put some music on, and just kind of like get in the zone for folding my clothes. It's like such a big thing for me. But there are so many times where my partner would come home and he would see the basket, of clothes, and I would go out somewhere and do something, and I would come back and all of the clothes would be folded, not just folded and then back in the basket, folded and separated and organized. My partner is a Marine. He's very, specific, organized, like strategic, all of the things. And that's one of the things that I love about my life with him. It's kind of like, man, and he doesn't complain about it, nor do I ever have to ask him to do it. So that's just one of the things that makes me remember, like I'm aware that my life is better with my PMDD partner. Or if I remember that, when we go grocery shopping, that he organizes the cart, like I'm one of those people. And like, let me know, like on Instagram, DM me at In Love with PMDD. And let me know if you're one of those people that just throw your groceries in the cart when you're grocery shopping. I was so mind blown that the first time that me and my partner went grocery shopping together, that he strategically puts things in the cart. Like eggs go here and then everything's in its own corner. It's so organized. Like I didn't even know that was a thing. But now when I try to do it myself, it never really works. It's not natural for me to organize, but it's natural for him to be organized. And my life is always better because he does those little things. And it's not that he's doing them to just be like, oh, I'm going to do this for you. It's just who he is. And just knowing that he has that level of attention to detail, that level of selfless service, it makes me really, really glad that I have him as my partner. And one last thing that he does is that he writes sticky notes. So I'm a sticky note person. I used to write affirmations, and I would stick them on the mirror. I am this, I am that. Like I would do that for me as a personal thing. And when I met him and we were dating, he has index cards and he'll write like little loving things, little loving notes, and he puts them in everything. He'll put them in my purse. He'll put them in my boots, like he'll put them in my, like the drawer, like in between the clothes that he folds. And they're always like very different, very specific and very loving. And I never asked him to do that. And he does it all this at the most random times. Like it's not overkill because it's not like every single day he's writing these notes, but it's always when I least expect it. And then I just find them all over the place. And it's the most amazing thing because I love that I find them when I'm not with him because it just reminds me of how much he loves me and he cares about me. And he took time out and they're all handwritten, like literally like handwritten notes. Sometimes it was with a crayon. Like I'm thinking that he just looks around the room and just whatever he can find, and then he just writes whatever he's feeling. Yes, he can send it in a text message. Yes, a lot of times he does send loving texts, but just old fashioned writing, loving notes on an index card, telling me how amazing I am, how beautiful I am, how proud of me he is. Like, it's just like, oh. So write down those 5 things that your partner does that you absolutely love, and that reminds you that your life is better with your PMDD partner, despite how you're feeling when you're in PMDD. So the next affirmation is I am good enough for my partner despite my PMDD. So many times our self-esteem, our self-worth takes a big hit when we're in PMDD, because when we're in the thick of it, when we're in hell, we feel broken. I cannot tell you how many ugly cries that I've had, how many, days that I've just felt like crap. You get bloated, you gain weight, your clothes don't fit, you don't feel comfortable in your clothes. There's so many ways, mentally and physically, how PMDD can make you feel like you're not enough for your partner. And I want to remind you, your partner is still there. Your partner still loves you. You are good enough for your partner despite your PMDD. It's not breaking you. It's not making you unlovable. I know a lot of my clients come to me and they think that their partner is going to leave them all the time because they're so mean to them when they're in PMDD, and they feel like they're going to go too far one time and then their partner's going to leave. I want you to be able to know that you can always recover from anything that you've done and get the tools. This is why I love that I have clients specifically that have PMDD, because what I do is I provide you with tools of how to repair your relationship, repair the damage that you've done while you're in PMDD, and then provide you with tools to prevent you from doing again. So many times, yes, we can apologize to our partner after we've done something, said something, but we don't do anything different the next month. We're still continuously doing those things to put damage on our relationship. So if you don't have the tools, then you will continue to do the same thing that's going to damage your relationship. And over time, this is why you see people that say, when you go and you look at getting a divorce and it says irretrievably broken, that means it's been so broken that I can't even put it back together. And I always like to have my clients come to me before they get to that point, before they get anywhere near that point, because we don't want to try to put something together that's irretrievably broken. It's all in bits and pieces, and I can't even put it back together. If it's just a couple things, this is why I firmly believe in relationship checkups. Every single month, let's do a relationship checkup. Let's see where we're at. Let's say the things that, we may not be saying to our partner on a day-to-day basis. Let's check in, because when you don't do those relationship checkups, then you are making sure that your relationship was never going to be irretrievably broken, because if there's a crack, we're going to fix the crack and we're going to move forward. So I want you to begin to write down 5 things that your partner loves about you. And I guarantee you that those 5 things that your partner loves about you are still there, even when you're in PMDD. And if they're not, that's a good thing to recognize. So if I'm saying that I'm good enough for my partner, despite when I'm in PMDD, because my partner loves that I cook for them. So if that's one of the ways that you find that your partner finds value in you, so you would kind of think to yourself, okay, when I'm in PMDD, do I continue to cook for my partner? Like, I know this is something that my partner values that I do. Am I continuously doing that? If the answer is yes, even if you don't feel like it, I'm not saying you have to cook them a gourmet 4-course meal, but I am saying that if you're still providing them with the basics of what they need, then you're good enough for your partner. When you are in PMDD, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be like you are when you're not in PMDD. You don't have to do all the things. You don't have to pretend like you're happy when you're not. You don't have to go to events when you feel like crap and go there and show up and be miserable. And like, you don't have to do those things. But what you do have to do is the foundational stuff. Like, you do something, you adjust. So PMDD is cyclic. You're not stopping everything that you're doing for your partner that you normally do when you're not in PMDD. And then when you're in PMDD, you just stop it. You shift it and you find a way to still provide that need. You provide your partner with what they need in a different way. So you're just adjusting it, but you're making sure that they still receive it. So maybe you go pick them up some food. I had one of my clients do a food delivery service. And then that way your partner is fed, you arranged it, you took care of it, and that's it. And your partner's not gonna hate you because you're not cooking the meal. Because eventually when you come out of PMDD and you have more energy and you don't have all this fatigue and brain fog and forgetting ingredients, when you stop having the symptoms, you're going to go back to doing those things naturally because that's what you do. So when you're having this affirmation of I am good enough for my partner, despite my PMDD, I want you to think about if you're still filling that void, if you're still providing something to your partner in that specific area. So if it's quality time, that doesn't mean that you're spending all your time with your partner, but are you spending any time with your partner, or are you going into your room, coming home from work, going into your room, climbing under the covers and shutting the door into the next day? And your partner's sitting out there playing video games or on social media and you're showing them no attention. Go spend 15 minutes. Go spend 5 minutes. Do something to connect with your partner so that they know that you're still in it. Because even when you're in PMDD, you're still in a relationship. You're still committed. So do the things. The last affirmation is I am mindful of my actions towards my PMDD partner. This is so important to remember. So when you get this affirmation, when I provide these affirmation cards to you, I want you to put this up somewhere where you live, and make sure that it's a reminder of your actions towards your partner specifically when you're in PMDD. It's so easy for us to get so enveloped in us, in our symptoms, in how we're feeling, how it's not fair. All of these things are true. It's not fair. PMDD sucks. It really, really does. So I'm not taking anything away from that. Those are valid feelings, but it's the actions and the behaviors towards your partner that's going to make the difference in your intimate relationship. If you're feeling yucky, I provide my clients with tools that when you're feeling so down and out and you're feeling angry and you're feeling irritable and you're feeling all of these things, I provide my clients with tools to not take that out on your partner. It is not your partner's fault. I'm going to repeat that so that you really, really understand. It is not your partner's fault that you have PMDD. So you should never punish them and make them feel like they did something wrong because you have PMDD. It's such a helpless feeling a lot of times for PMDD partners because they ultimately want you to feel better. They want you to go back to how you were when you're not in PMDD. So it's very stressful for them. And I think that we need to always remember that they go through a lot when we're in PMDD because they are not able to give us a cure. And a lot of partners like to fix things. They like to provide solutions. They don't just want to talk about how bad you feel. Do you know how hurtful that is for someone who loves you to know that you're suffering and then they can't do anything about it? And then, oh, and by the way, I'm now going to punish you by either neglecting you or saying harsh things or being aggressive with you, all because I have this disorder, but it's not their fault. And so we need to be mindful of the actions that we have towards our PMDD partner. That's the big one. That's why I kept that one for last. So these affirmations will be available tomorrow on my website at www.inlovewithpmdd.com, or you can DM me on Instagram, In Love with PMDD. I'm going to make these initially at a very affordable price, probably for this month, of only $9.99, because I want everyone who has a PMDD partner to use these affirmations as a reminder for their PMDD relationship. And this is something that you can use even when you're not in PMDD. So if you get into the habit of knowing these affirmations, saying these affirmations, doing the exercises that are tied to the affirmations, if you do this on a consistent basis, then pretty much every single month, you're going to get used to being there, doing these specific things for your relationship, for your partner. Because I know when my clients come to me, a lot of them are saying, I want to make my relationship better, but I don't know how. So this is a way of providing you with tools as a foundation to just get started on doing this. If you do need individual or couples PMDD counseling, you can contact me on my website, www.inlovewithpmdd.com, or you can DM me on Instagram and we can have an initial consultation. So if that's something that you need where you say, I want to get in depth with my specific issues that I'm having with my relationship and get tools for that. So I'm all about tools. I'm all about action steps. I'm not just going to give you information and then that's it. Because so many times when you go to counselors, coaches, all the psychologists, all of the things, and you say, oh, I'm going to do one session, and then I'm going to do one session a month or one session a week. What happens when you have issues in between that time? What happens when something comes up? Because I know that happened for me a lot. Like, yes, I was good for that one, that day, and I got everything out in that session, but then something happened during the week in my relationship. And then what am I going to do then? So these tools are going to be something that you can create a toolbox and you can say, oh, Coach Rose, she told me that when I have this specific issue with, my rage and my PMDD, I now have tools for that. So that's what I provide you with, actionable tools that you can keep so that you can refer to them when it is that you need them. So until next time, I hope that you continue to pour into your partner so that you can have the relationship that you desire and deserve. You got this.